You know, usually when we pull a topic for a deep dive, we're dissecting something man-made.
Right. A tech trend, a political shift.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But today,
Mm-hmm.
today, we are looking at the actual ground beneath our feet.
Literally. And I mean, not just any ground. We are looking at a place that sort of challenges the very definition of what Earth is even supposed to look like.
We're talking about Iceland. It's a place where the planet is actively, ripping itself apart and stitching itself back together.
Yeah. Exactly. And
Yeah.
because that process is so violent and so visible, it creates a very, very specific human psychology.
I really like this framework we found in the research notes.
Yeah.
It divides the Icelandic experience into 4 archetypes.
The calm, the wild, the dark, and the magical.
It's like a synthesis, right? You can't understand one without the others.
You have to look at the geology to understand the mythology.
Okay, so let's start with the first one, the calm. Because if I pull up a picture of Iceland, that's what I see. Green fields, soft light, maybe a cute horse.
It looks pastoral, it looks soft, but that softness is a deception.
How so?
If we zoom in on the Eldrun lava field, to your eye, it's this endless undulating sea of green moss, it looks like a memory foam mattress stretching to the horizon.
Right, it looks like you could just take a nap on it.
Please don't. That moss, it's called woolly fringe moss, is essentially a biological scab covering a massive wound.
A wound?
That whole field is the site of the Leki eruption.
Okay, this is the one from 1783. The Skeftaraldar.
Correct. And to understand the scale here, this wasn't just a volcano popping off. This was the largest single eruption in recorded history.
Wow.
It covered 565 square kilometers in lava. That's roughly the size of Singapore, just buried.
And the sources really stressed that the fallout wasn't local?
No, it was global. The eruption pumped so much sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, it created a haze across Europe. It lowered global temperatures.
I read some historians even argue it helped trigger the French Revolution because of the crop failures.
It caused famine in Egypt. It was a planetary event.
So this calm green moss is actually growing on the grave of a global climate catastrophe.
That's the key takeaway. The moss is a slow-motion healing process. It takes, 50 to 100 years for that moss to grow. It feeds only on the air and rain because there's no soil, just rock.
Which explains why the park rangers get so intense if you step on it.
Oh, it's incredibly fragile. A single footprint can crush the dry structure, and it leaves a scar that can last for a century.
A century.
So that calm, you see, isn't about peace. It's about resilience, hanging by a thread.
Speaking of resilience, we have to talk about the other icon of the calm state.
The Icelandic horse.
I was reading the genetic notes on this, and it's honestly surprising. I knew they were unique, but I didn't realize how hermetically sealed they are.
It's a biological time capsule. They were brought over by Vikings, right? But then in 982 AD, over 1,000 years ago, their parliament banned the importation of any more horses.
982. That is a long time to go without new blood.
And they are ruthless about it. To this day, if an Icelandic horse leaves the island, it can never come back.
Never.
Never. The risk of bringing back some virus the population has no immunity to is just too high.
Does that explain the temperament? Because they're known for being incredibly chill.
It's a huge part of it. They evolved for a millennium with no natural predators, no wolves, no bears. So that flight response, it basically atrophied. They haven't needed to be scared for 1,000 years.
And they move differently. I've seen videos of this gait, the tolt. It looks almost mechanical.
But smooth. It's a 4-beat lateral gait. So unlike a trot where you're bouncing up and down,
Right.
with the tolt, there's always at least 1 foot on the ground. It just glides.
No bouncing.
You could hold a full pint of beer and not spill a drop. It's called the heartbeat of the land because it let people cross these jagged lava fields smoothly.
I like that. A Viking with an ale, just gliding over a lava field.
Yeah.
But that leads us right into the second archetype. Because you can't glide forever. Eventually you hit the wild.
And this is where the geology stops being polite.
We're talking about the Mid-Atlantic Ridge.
The spine of the ocean. Iceland sits right on the seam where the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates are pulling apart.
Divorcing is the word you used earlier.
They're pulling apart at about 2 centimeters a year.
That doesn't sound like much.
In geological time, that is a sprint. The
Yeah.
island is literally ripping itself in half. That tension is the engine for everything.
And nowhere is that violence more aesthetic, I guess, than Reykjanes, the black sand beach.
It's a haunting place. Stunning, but so violent.
So let's break that down. Why is the sand black?
Because it's not really sand, it's shattered basalt. When
Whoa.
1,000-degree lava hits the freezing North Atlantic, it doesn't just cool down.
It explodes.
Thermal shock.
It-
It shatters the rock into millions of tiny fragments of volcanic glass. So you're walking on debris.
Pulverized debris.
Yeah.
And then you have those columns. The rain is Dranger.
The ones that look like a pipe organ for titans.
Yeah.
That hexagon shape is just nature being efficient. As the lava cools and contracts, it cracks in that perfect geometric grid. It's geometry created by geology.
It's beautiful. But the sources we have on this beach are, frankly, terrifying.
Oh.
They all talk about sneaker waves
Mm-hmm.
and the name. It sounds so misleading, right? Like it's just going to splash your boots.
It is a deceptive name for a fatal phenomenon. You have to look at the map. If you stand on that beach and look south, what's the next thing you hit?
I'm guessing nothing.
Antarctica. There are thousands of miles of open ocean, uninterrupted, so the wind and the swell build up energy over that whole distance.
The ocean acts like a battery, just charging up.
Exactly. A sneaker wave isn't just a big wave you see coming. It's a long period wave that surges way further up the beach than the ones before it, and it pulls you out.
And the water is near freezing.
Survival time is measured in minutes. There have been 6 recorded fatalities just between 2013 and 2024. It is a very stark reminder.
That indifference of nature seems to be a recurring theme. You see it in the glaciers, too. We've got notes here on Jökulsárlón, the glacier lagoon.
The deepest lake in Iceland.
The descriptions are surreal. They talk about the ice being electric blue. Is that real?
It's physics. Glacial ice is snow that's been compressed for centuries. The weight is so immense it squeezes out all the air bubbles.
So it's super dense ice.
Incredibly dense. And without those air bubbles to scatter the light, the ice absorbs the red end of the spectrum and reflects the blue. It's a visual sign of age and pressure.
And what about the black streaks you see?
Ash layers, a timeline of explosions. Every black vein is a record of an ancient eruption trapped in the ice.
That transitions us perfectly to the third archetype, the dark. You can't talk about Iceland without talking about the lack of light.
And how that shapes people. In winter, you might get 2 or 3 hours of twilight, sometimes no direct sun at all.
And the wind. The source material mentions over 180 words for wind in Icelandic.
Precision is survival. You can't just say, it's windy.
My favorite one from the list was gluggaveður.
Ah, yes. Window weather.
Sounds so pleasant.
It's a total trap. It's weather that looks beautiful from inside, clear sky, bright sun. But you step outside and it's a freezing gale. The weather is basically gaslighting you.
And then there's maskaverdir.
Weather that causes injury to people, that's an actual weather forecast category.
When you live in an environment that hostile and that dark, I imagine your mind starts to fill in the blanks.
The shadows start to have names. This brings us to the Holdufolk, the hidden people.
I think this is where a lot of people check out. They hear elves and think.
Lord of the Rings, Christmas.
Right. But this is different.
Much different. This is living folklore. The belief is that the Holdufolk are the unwashed children of Eve.
Wait, unwashed.
The myth is that God visited Eve, and she hadn't finished bathing her kids. She was ashamed, so she hid the dirty ones. God said, "What man hides from God, God will hide from man." And so they became invisible, living in a parallel dimension inside the rocks.
Oh, that is a lot darker than Santa's workshop.
It is. And the stories reflect that. Look at the account of Chris Jansen from 1858.
The 8-year-old boy.
Yes. He vanished. The whole community searched for him, especially around this one big rock. Hours later, they find him, curled up in a corner of his own house, a corner they'd already searched.
How did he get there?
He said a woman who looked like his mother but wasn't his mother pulled him into the rock, which became a house inside.
That taps into a very primal fear, the
Yeah.
changeling myth.
It speaks to the disorientation of the landscape, getting lost in the fog, the snow blindness. You stop trusting your own eyes.
What gets me is that this isn't just history. It affects modern infrastructure.
Oh, absolutely. The Icelandic Road Administration will sometimes alter the path of a new road to avoid destroying a known elf stone.
Do the engineers actually believe in elves?
Some might, but for most, it's about cultural respect. It's an acknowledgement that the land has a memory. You don't just bulldoze it.
It's a humility before the landscape.
Exactly.
Which brings us to our final archetype. We've looked down, we've looked out, we've looked into the dark. Now we look up. The magical.
The cosmic connection.
The aurora borealis. What is actually happening up there?
It's a violent collision, really.
Yeah.
The sun shoots out charged particles, the solar wind Our magnetic field catches them and funnels them toward the poles.
And they slam into our atmosphere.
They slam into oxygen and nitrogen atoms, transfer energy, and when those atoms calm down, they release that energy as a photon, as light.
And planetary neon sign. And the colors tell a story, right?
They tell you the chemistry. Green, the most common, is oxygen at lower altitudes. Red is oxygen way up high. The blues and purples, that's nitrogen.
So you're literally seeing the chemical makeup of our atmosphere. But there's even more direct connection to space in Iceland, one that involves NASA.
The Apollo training.
This blew my mind. Neil Armstrong trained for the moon in Iceland.
He did, in 1965 and 1967. NASA sent astronauts to the Askja caldera.
Why there? Why not Arizona?
They needed a place that was geologically young. On the moon, there's no erosion from water or wind, no vegetation. They needed bare volcanic rock. Iceland's highlands are the most extraterrestrial place on Earth.
So they were practicing, what, picking up rocks?
Literally, they called it geology field training. They needed to be able to identify different types of basalt and tuff, so they didn't waste cargo space bringing back boring rocks from the moon.
That is a wild image, Neil Armstrong hiking through the mist, pretending he's on the moon.
It just reinforces that living Earth theme. When you're in the highlands, you are seeing the Earth before biology took over, or maybe after biology ends.
It sounds humbling.
It is.
So if we synthesize all of this, the calm, wild, dark, magical, what's the final takeaway?
For me, it's that Iceland forces a perspective shift. Most of us, we live in tamed environments, paved, air-conditioned, controlled. Iceland is just indifferent to you.
Indifferent is a strong word.
But it's accurate. The volcano doesn't care about your flight schedule. The wave doesn't care if you can swim. The moss doesn't care about your photo. It's a place where the Earth is the main character and we are just visitors.
A reality check.
A beautiful, terrifying reality check.
I think that's the perfect place to leave it. If you're planning a trip there, bring good boots, respect the moss.
And watch out for the elves.
And definitely don't turn your back on the ocean.
Never.